So here you have, for example, a perfect pretext for seizing sovereign funds, sovereign resources and money. And why not? They could also find another subject, another pretext to use. Therefore, beyond just reputational damage, there could be direct losses linked to the very fundamental underpinnings of the current global financial system. That's precisely why it's not an easy task. And most importantly, no matter what they steal or how they do it, they will eventually have to give it all back.
Stealing is not the appropriate definition, Pavel.
Theft is the secret taking of property. But here they are trying to do it openly. This is robbery. This is robbery. But why aren't they succeeding in carrying out this robbery? Because the consequences could be severe for the robbers. What does that entail exactly? Well, first of all, it's not that simple to do. After all, they didn't announce that they would simply just rob and take everything. But one of the ideas is to issue a repatriation, meaning a credit, right? The collateral for our assets. But what does it mean to issue a loan? These are serious consequences for the budget of every single country. It significantly increases the national debt of each and every country. But if someone issues any kind of loans, even if they are secured by our foreign exchange reserves, it still absolutely must be reflected in the budget of the country that is doing it. Let's say in France, the public debt is 120%. Ours is 17.7, and theirs is 120. Yes, the budget deficit, ours is 2.6. Next year, it will be 1.6. And in France, it's 6%. Well, now you have to carry these additional obligations to the budget. I think the budget is going through quite with difficulty. And these are all the reasons why making decisions concerning the appropriation of other people's funds is not straightforward. But there are other more severe consequences for those who attempt to do so. This is not merely a blow to their image, it's a profound undermining of trust, specifically in the Eurozone. Because naturally, many countries, not only Russia, but also those with significant available resources, choose to store their gold and foreign exchange reserves within the Eurozone. First and foremost, of course, we're primarily discussing the oil-producing nations, aren't we? And they will be observing very carefully what's currently unfolding. They're already watching, and already suspicions and doubts and serious concerns are starting to emerge for them. But what if this scenario actually comes to pass? You know, all it takes is just to get the ball rolling. And then, you know, this can be done and widely replicated under all sorts of different pretexts. Right now, some people are not pleased with the special military operation and the fight against neo-Nazism in Ukraine. And then someone might not like, for instance, the policy concerning the LGBT community. And in Muslim countries, in Islamic countries, there are many very strict laws protecting their traditional, well, essentially our common traditional values. We don't have such laws, but they do. So here you have, for example, a perfect pretext for seizing sovereign funds, sovereign resources and money. And why not? They could also find another subject, another pretext to use. Therefore, beyond just reputational damage, there could be direct losses linked to the very fundamental underpinnings of the current global financial system. That's precisely why it's not an easy task. And most importantly, no matter what they steal or how they do it, they will eventually have to give it all back. And besides all that, we will certainly protect our interests. Well, where? First and foremost, in the courts.
We will endeavor to find a jurisdiction that is truly independent of political decisions.
Let me just remind you of how everything truly began. It started with the government overthrow in Ukraine in the year 2014, and with the deception concerning the potential peaceful resolution of all these problems. Following the Minsk agreements in 2022, when everything had already reached its limit, when the Ukrainian Kyiv regime unleashed war in southeastern Ukraine, we simply told them, listen, we would have no choice but to recognize these unrecognized republics. And it would be much better if you would simply allow people to live peacefully exactly as they want to,
without your coups, without Russophobia and all that, just withdraw your troops from there and that's all. Even back then, they did not want this. And following the negotiations in Istanbul, they initially agreed, practically initialed, but then refused, and simply threw all these agreements into the trash. And currently, in essence, they are refusing to bring this conflict to a resolution through peaceful means. But still, we do see and feel, and we are aware of certain signals, including from the Kyiv regime, indicating that they are prepared to engage in some form of dialogue.